That night in the upper room, after the bread was broken and the wine was poured, Jesus did something no canonical gospel ever recorded. He dismissed most of his disciples. Judas had already left into the night to betray him, but he sent the others away too. Only 3 remained, the inner circle: Peter, John, and James. The witnesses of the Transfiguration. They watched as their teacher, the man who walked on water and raised the dead, knelt on the cold stone floor and began to trace something with his finger in the dust. Not words, not letters. A symbol, a shape so ancient it predated Moses, predated Abraham, predated the flood itself. It was a geometry of pure silence, and as his finger completed the final line, the oil lamps in the room flickered violently, as if something unseen, something dark, ancient, and parasitic had suddenly fled from that space in terror. What he drew that night was not meant for the masses. It was not meant for the institution that would later form in his name and wear robes of gold. It was a key. A frequency made visible, a geometric truth that the rulers of this world cannot tolerate. And for 2,000 years, this symbol has been hunted, hidden, and systematically erased from every text the Vatican could reach. They burned libraries to keep this shape out of your mind. But here is what they never anticipated. You are watching this right now, and that is not an accident. If you clicked on this video, something inside you already knows. You have felt it your entire life, that quiet sense that this world operates on rules nobody taught you. That invisible forces seem to interfere whenever you get close to real truth. That certain knowledge has been deliberately kept from you to keep you small. You are not paranoid. You are not crazy. You are remembering. The symbol you are about to learn tonight has been called many names across centuries of underground tradition. The Cathars called it the seal of protection. The Templars called it the sign of sovereignty. The Gnostics who walked with Jesus called it something far more direct. They called it the Archon repellent, because that is exactly what it does. And tonight, you will draw it. Before you can understand why this symbol holds such power, you need to understand the prison you were born into. Not a prison of walls and bars. A prison of frequency. A prison designed so perfectly that most inmates defend their own cells. The Gnostic texts discovered at Nag Hammadi in 1945 revealed what the early church desperately tried to destroy. They spoke of a creation story far older and far darker than Genesis as you know it. In these texts, the material universe was not crafted by the supreme source, not by the infinite consciousness. The Gnostics called the monad. Instead, this world was fashioned by a lesser being, a blind, arrogant creator who genuinely believed himself to be the only God because he could not see the light above him. The Gnostics called him the Demiurge, but the Demiurge did not work alone. Beneath him served a hierarchy of rulers, of cosmic prison guards, entities whose very existence depends on one thing: your energy, your attention, your suffering. These are the Archons, and their entire system, everything from the recycling of souls to the manipulation of human thought, exists for a single purpose: to keep you asleep, to keep you generating the low-frequency emotions they feed upon. Fear, anger, shame, despair. These are not just feelings to them. These are food. In esoteric circles, this is called louche. Now, here's where it gets uncomfortable. The Archons do not simply wait for you to feel these emotions naturally. They engineer them. They implant thoughts that are not yours. That sudden wave of self-doubt before you attempt something great. That voice telling you that you are not good enough, not worthy, not ready. That strange impulse to sabotage your own progress just when breakthrough is near. These are not always your thoughts. Some of them are broadcast frequencies transmitted directly into human consciousness to harvest specific emotional responses. The Gospel of Philip, one of the texts Rome never wanted you to read, says it directly. The Archons wanted to deceive humanity because they saw that human beings had a kinship with what is truly good. They took the names of the good and assigned them to what is not good. So through names, they deceive and bind them to what is not good. Read that again in your mind. This is not ancient superstition. This is the most sophisticated control system ever designed. But there was a glitch in their system, a flaw. they never expected. Some souls incarnated here carry something the Archons cannot manufacture and cannot destroy. A divine spark. A fragment of the monad itself, wrapped in flesh, but never fully contained by it. The Gnostics called these souls Pneumatics, spirit carriers. If you are still watching this video, if these words resonate in your bones, you already know which category you fall into. And Jesus came to give the Pneumatics a weapon. Jesus of Nazareth becomes dangerous to the official narrative, not because of his death, but because of his name. The church built in his name would have you believe he came simply to forgive sins. But the Gnostic Gospels paint a radically different picture. In these texts, Jesus is not primarily a sacrifice. He's a technician of consciousness. He is a revealer who descended into this prison specifically to hand the inmates keys to the locks. Why would the Vatican hunt down a shape? Why would the Knights Templar be burned at the stake for worshipping strange heads or using forbidden symbols found under Solomon's temple? Because geometry is frozen frequency. This is the science of somatics. Every sound, every vibration, creates a specific geometric shape. Conversely, every shape emits a specific vibrational signature. The symbol Jesus drew that night was a geometric configuration specifically designed to generate a frequency that Archonic entities cannot tolerate. Think of it like a radio signal. The Archons broadcast on specific frequency slow vibration channels of fear, fragmentation, and confusion. The symbol, when drawn and activated correctly, shifts your personal field to a frequency of coherence. It operates so far outside their range that their transmissions cannot reach you. Their implanted thoughts slide off. Their emotional manipulations find no purchase. It creates a Faraday cage for your soul. History hints that Jesus studied in the mystery schools of Egypt during his silent years. He would have known that the Egyptians used specific amulets and geometric barriers to ward off chaos spirits. He synthesized this ancient wisdom with the direct power of the monad. The symbol has three primary components: the outer circle, the boundary of sovereignty, the inner cross, the pattern of coherence, the central point, the divine spark, the monad. When these three components combine, they create something the Archons have no answer for. A conscious being fully aware of their sovereignty, energetically coherent, and connected to the source that transcends this entire false creation. This is the Archon Seal. This is the Arkan. This is practice. Tonight, you are going to learn exactly how to apply it. But be warned, the process begins before you ever put pen to paper. Your inner state determines whether you are drawing a symbol or activating a key. If you approach this mechanically, without intention, you will create nothing more than ink on paper. The geometry requires your participation. It requires the spark to ignite the engine. Step 1. The signal clarity: find a space where you will not be interrupted. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Place your attention on your heartbeat. Feel it pulsing. Let a single recognition arise. I exist, before your name, before your history, before every label this world has placed upon you. There is simple existence, pure awareness. This is the spark. This is what the Archons cannot touch. When you feel that recognition in your chest at time, open your eyes. Step 2. The boundary, the circle. Take the pen. Draw the outer circle first. Let your hand move slowly, deliberately. Do not rush. As the line curves back to meet itself, feel the boundary it represents. This is where your sovereign field begins and the external world ends. Nothing crosses this line without your conscious invitation. It is a statement written in the language of frequency. I am whole. I am contained. Step 3. The coherence, the cross inside the circle. Draw the equal-armed cross. Not the elongated Latin cross of suffering and history. The ancient, balanced cross of the elements. The cross of the 4 directions. 4 lines meeting at the exact center, extending to touch the inner edge of the circle. This is the coherence pattern. It pulls your scattered energy back to the center. As you draw it, feel the fragmentation of your daily existence. The stress, the distraction, the fear beginning to settle, to organize, to unify. Step 4. The spark, the center point. At the center point, where the lines meet, place a single dot. Small but deliberate. Press the pen down. This is the spark. This is you, the real you. The monad in miniature. As you place this point, let your attention rest there. You are not drawing a symbol. You are remembering who you are. This is the seal, circle, cross, and center point. So simple that the mind wants to reject it. So powerful that empires have burned libraries to suppress it. Keep this drawing somewhere you will see it daily. Put it on your mirror. Carry it in your wallet. Trace it again whenever you feel the familiar interference, returning the sudden doubts, the racing thoughts, the energy drains that have no visible source. Each time you draw it consciously, you reinforce the frequency. You broadcast a signal the Archons cannot answer. The Vatican's suppression of this knowledge follows a trail of blood that spans to millennia. When Constantine convened the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, the official goal was to unify doctrine, but the unofficial goal was to burn the Gnostics. Any gospel that empowered the individual, that suggested direct access to the divine without institutional mediation, was marked for destruction. They wanted you dependent. They wanted you afraid. They wanted you begging, but they failed. Because truth is like water. It always finds a way through the cracks. You were never meant to be a prisoner here. You incarnated carrying a key you simply forgot you possessed. Tonight, you remembered. What you do with that remembering is entirely up to you. If this video found you, it is because you are ready to hold the key. Share it with someone else who's ready. Not everyone will hear this. Not everyone is meant to. But somewhere in your life, there is another soul trapped in the same confusion you once felt, waiting for exactly this information. Trust your intuition. You already know who they are. Subscribe and stay connected. This is not the last key. There are more. And when you are ready, they will appear. The circle is complete. The cross is drawn. The spark is lit. You are free.